Courtrooms are supposed to be places of order and justice, but sometimes they turn into a stage for the most unpredictable and jaw-dropping moments. First, a corrupt officer's attempt to justify his actions backfires spectacularly during a cross-examination.
This all started back in October 2015. You'll hear about Corey Jones. He was living his life. Had a good job at the Delray Beach Housing Authority. Lived with his brother. Loved his family. Loved music. Music was his passion. He was a drummer. He played in bands. He played at family functions and organizations. And that's what he was doing on a Saturday night, October 17th of 2015.
Corey Jones was the victim in this case, and his encounter with Raja became the last moments of his life.
He's out at the middle of the night on the side of the road, stranded. And unlike a lot of folks in this world, he was patient, he was nice. All he wanted was some help to get home. You'll hear how he's giving her information just to get the help that he needs. But see, unfortunately for Corey Jones, his bad luck was turning much worse. Because unknown to him, that defendant was on duty.
Jones had requested non-emergency assistance, and while waiting, it was Officer Raja who responded.
See, he was a police officer at that time in Palm Beach Gardens Police Department. He was working a detail, a plainclothes detail, where he was supposed to surveil neighborhoods, looking for car burglars, and if he saw anything, he's supposed to call up marked units to come and take care of the issue. And he has supposed to be wearing a tactical vest, like you see on TV, in the news, maybe in person, with big letters that say police across it, so everybody knows who he is.
Raja didn't bother with any of these precautions, and instead proceeded to play both judge, jury, and executioner.
And instead of doing what everybody would expect a law enforcement officer to do when they're approaching a stranded, potentially abandoned, but at least a vehicle that's stranded on the side of the road, that defendant did everything wrong. He did everything that you would not expect.
In addition, during his trial, Raja claimed he had announced himself as an officer to Jones, but an audio recording disproved this. His blatant lying only made his case worse.
Now, Corey Jones, he's got an expensive drum kit. He goes into not the nicest parts of Delray Beach for his job. So he did what any lawful American can do. He purchased a firearm, .380 hand. You can't even try to create the situation that came about. He got that gun 2 days prior to this event. It was still in the box in his glove compartment.
This would serve as a counter to another claim Raja had made, in which he stated his hand was forced due to Jones being armed.
Corey Jones knew what was exactly about to happen, what any reasonable person could expect to happen. You'll show through the evidence today and through the next 2 weeks what Corey Jones was thinking. You'll hear how Corey Jones had that gun out of that box. You'll hear the chimes of the door opening from Corey Jones' SUV because he still had the keys in the ignition. And you'll hear the last words that Corey Jones ever spoke.
There was no justification for Raja's actions other than sick pleasure. As was about to be explained, his actions were beyond disgusting.
Nothing that shows he's an officer. He didn't even pull out the badge, which was in his wallet, in his back pocket, to show to Corey Jones. Much less put on that vest that said police, or even had his radio or his gun. There's no verbal identification that you're going to hear on that recording when Corey Jones was talking to that sales representative that had to sit there and witness this horrific event unfold.
Given how severe Raja's actions were made out to be, the reality of the situation fully merited this reaction by the prosecutor.
Yeah, I'm good. Really? That's what he's saying. That's not how an officer talks to a citizen at 3 o'clock in the morning on the side of the road. But that's how he spoke to what he saw with Corey Jones on the side of that road.
Raja had acted more like a street gang thug than a police officer, especially moments before the fatal incident.
As this defendant is saying these words to Corey Jones, and Corey Jones is responding back, he's getting closer and closer to Corey Jones. He's actually chasing Corey Jones away from his vehicle. Corey's already retreating back out of his doorway to the back of his vehicle. A citizen that's stranded on the side of the road, already being chased from his vehicle.
To imagine that Raja didn't stop to think for one moment before he profiled Jones is horrifying considering what happened next.
Get your hands up. Get your fucking hands up. That's what he's screaming. That's how he's treating a stranded citizen. And what does Corey say? He doesn't respond in kind with profanity. He says, hold on, hold on. Once again, get your effing hands up. Drop. 3 shots.
Nothing about this was warranted except for Raja's desire to murder a man in cold blood, something which the jury certainly wasn't letting him get away with.
It got thrust upon him by the person that was supposed to be caring for his safety. He made a decision to shoot first and ask questions later. And one of the few people that should have unquestionably been there to assist him on the side of that road did exactly the opposite. Instead of being Corey Jones' saving grace, he was his angel of death.
Raja represents everything that is wrong with the police department these days, allowing absolute psychopaths to have positions of authority.
But see, this isn't the end of the story. Because now Corey Jones is running for his life. He is running for the cover of darkness. He's thrown down the gun already that he had in his hand that was meant to protect him. 10 seconds between the third and the fourth shot. 10 seconds for a young man running for the cover of darkness. 10 seconds for that defendant right there to finally do what he is supposed to do as a law enforcement officer. But that's not what the evidence is going to show he did.
The evidence would point to how this was in no way some accident or case of incompetence, but something much worse.
It's going to show his recklessness. His absolute reckless behavior from the start is now changing. It's evolving. It's now becoming a premeditated intent to kill. That 10 seconds was the time that he was able to reflect and consider what he was doing with that firearm in his hand.
Officer Raja had planned this from the start, but didn't do a good job of hiding his tracks.
That is no longer just in the heat of the moment. That is now premeditated intent with one specific desire, and that was to kill Corey Jones. He fired those last 3 shots at 1 second intervals each. Control. Boom. 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 Not fast, but controlled.
This was psychopathic level behavior, but unfortunately, this was not the only appalling thing Raja did.
He waits over 30 seconds. 30 seconds to call 911. And why was he calling 911? Because he didn't have his radio on him like he's supposed to. He had to use his own phone to call 911, and he waited 30 seconds to call.
What would a normal person do if they even accidentally hurt someone? They'd help them. But what did Raja do?
Before getting much needed assistance, if he was truly in fear of his life, well, he needs to call the cavalry. 30 seconds. Doing what? Letting Corey Jones die. And how is he going to act?
This might be the only place where the prosecution might have been wrong. It may be likely this wasn't Raja's first time doing this.
With great power comes great responsibility. Law enforcement officers undoubtedly possess great power, great capacity for good, but that necessarily equals great responsibility in the way that those powers are used. But they don't have a right to kill anybody without absolute necessity.
Raja may not have killed Jones over any sentimental or anger issues, but by simply not caring, as the prosecution clarified.
And he's going to explain to you, the judge will tell you what culpable negligence means. He's going to say it means a course of conduct showing a reckless disregard for human life or the safety of other persons exposed to its dangerous effects, a conscious indifference to the consequences. I couldn't have thought up better words to explain exactly what he did.
But the situation goes even deeper, with the suggestion that Raja may have planned this murder from the start.
He was reckless from the start. He created the situation, and the evidence is going to show you that he could have only expected one result: the death of Corey Jones. But see, he doesn't get a free pass under the law for those last 3 shots. The last 3 shots that he waited 10 seconds to deliver, and took 1 second intervals in between each one. The law doesn't give him a free pass for those shots.
But even more horrific than this was the exact details of where the bullets hit Jones.
Corey was shot through the heart. He actually had his heart destroyed by that bullet, which is horrifically symbolic, saying that this young man lost his life because he lost his heart. You're going to hear a medical examiner come up here, forensic pathologist, and explain to you all the injuries that Corey Jones sustained. He was shot in the back of the arm, the back of this arm, on the right side of the upper arm, and went through right after. He was shot in the right side of his chest, and that bullet ripped through his body, destroyed his aorta, and lodged into his left shoulder.
Given the terrifying result of Raja's actions, and given how evil he had been proven to be, his version of events were still disgusting to hear.
He says, Corey Jones jumps out of the vehicle immediately, says, "I'm okay." He says, "Police." And what did Corey do? According to him during his statement, Corey jumps back and puts the gun at him. And now he's afraid for his life. That's what he says in his statement. That's not what happened. That's not what you hear in the AT&T recorded call from the roadside assistance folks.
It seems although Raja may have been a criminal, he certainly wasn't a smart one, as the prosecution ripped into him one final time.
We're confident that you're going to agree on the one verdict for which all the evidence will support. And that's a verdict finding him guilty as charged of being a reckless killer and for trying to murder Corey Jones. We're going to ask you to hold him responsible for how he misused that power.
And the worst part is, Raja expressed no remorse, and even his family tried to defend his actions. But the judge saw it differently.
We, the jury, find as follows. As to count 1, we find a defendant guilty of manslaughter while armed with a firearm as charged in the information. As to count 2, we found a defendant guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged in the information. If you find a defendant guilty of attempted first-degree murder, you must next answer the following questions. Did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant actually possessed a firearm? Yes. Did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant actually discharged a firearm? Yes. Did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, in discharging the firearm, actually caused great bodily harm or death to Corey L. Jones? Yes.
Alas, something finally good came out of this case, as Raja was forced to face his reckoning. Palm Beach County Judge Joseph Marks imposed a 25-year sentence on both counts Raja was convicted of, ruling the fired police officer will serve the sentences concurrently. However, unlike Raja, some cops are worse and go to even greater lengths to blame the victims themselves.
The defendant acted without considering or being aware of the substantial and unjustifiable risks associated with his conduct.
In November of 2021, Kansas City Sergeant Eric DeValkenaere stood trial for a 2019 shooting in which he and his partner fatally shot an unarmed black man, Cameron Lamb, in his own backyard. But it was the way he tried to justify it which was truly despicable.
He takes his left hand with the gun, and as he brings it along up and around the left-hand side of the steering wheel is when my focus moves from that weapon to the center of his chest.
And still, no information about a crime, no weapon of any kind that were in your mind that you knew about, no information like that at the time. You are now entering private property without a warrant, without probable cause, with your gun drawn.
Eric had previously alleged it was necessary to shoot Lamb as he was armed, but as you'll find out, this was far from the truth.
As all officers in my situation would have done.
Did you have time to get a warrant?
No, I did not.
Did you have a duty to protect your partner?
Yes, I did.
And do you believe that you ultimately saved his life?
Yes, I do.
Despite Eric's confidence, the prosecution revealed the truth of how long it actually took for him to make such a reckless decision.
9 seconds from the time you start to encounter this individual without a probable cause, without a warrant, without knowing what crime, before you pull the trigger. 9 seconds.
Before he presents the weapon in a threatening manner, correct?
Yes.
However, there was a reasonable suspicion to believe that the evidence of the incident had been tampered with. The gun that Eric claimed Lamb had drawn out was actually found in a box inside his staircase. However, the court was not going to let this slide.
There are a number of facts in this case that are both aggravating and mitigating, sometimes all at the same time. First and foremost is this undeniable and uncontested fact. Cameron Lamb is dead, and Eric DeValkenaere killed him. That's undisputed. Cameron Lamb was by all accounts a helpful and loving son, brother, father, and friend.
It is also undisputed that murdering someone without any suspicion of a crime occurring is the height of evil, and the judge's decision reflected this.
Have described him as funny, caring, giving. Miss Gray called him a protector, a jokester, and my favorite of all the ones that I read, not a saint, but our angel. Cameron Lamb's death leaves an irreparable and unfillable void in the lives of his family and his friends, and also in our community.
Given the severity of his crime, you would assume Sergeant Eric had a good reason for his actions, but this couldn't be further from the truth.
It can't be overlooked that the events of December 3rd of 2019 were initially set into motion by Cameron Lamb and his decision to chase his girlfriend through city streets at dangerously high speeds, putting motorists and other members of the public at risk. However, those events tragically concluded with the actions of Troy Schwam and the defendant. Pulling up to defendant's house, Sergeant Schwam pulling into the driveway, immediately getting out with his weapon drawn, rapidly moving into the backyard, carport, garage area of the house, and defendant doing the same.
Despite Lamb having broken the law, a traffic incident did not warrant the dangerous precautions taken by Eric, and especially not what he did next.
Both without taking a breath, without pausing for the briefest of moments to consider where they were going, what they would find when they got back there, whether they were acting lawfully in doing so, and whether there might be some other safer option. Without so much as a, "Hey Troy, wait." At any point, Sergeant Schwam and the defendant could have done this.
You'd think driving recklessly was still a sign of an unstable person. However, the judge revealed something that made Eric's actions even worse.
He did this when at some point, while he was chasing his girlfriend, he decided to discontinue the chase and to go home. The video from the helicopter shows this decision, shows how it played out. Cameron Lamb is not racing through the streets of his neighborhood at this point. He's not driving through yards to get away from anyone. He does not abandon the truck and let it roll into someone's yard while he flees on foot. Rather, he simply pulls into the driveway of his home, pulls around back, puts the vehicle into reverse, and slowly begins backing it down the driveway, under the carport, and into his garage.
The situation could have been left at that point, but it was Sergeant Eric's actions that proved why the police were beyond corrupt.
Then Sergeant Schwam and Eric DeValkenaere arrive, and as the court has found, an encounter that was over and a situation that had de-escalated was again escalated by what I have found, rightly or wrongly, was their unlawful entry into the backyard carport area and confrontation of Cameron Lamb. This is an aggravating factor.
Given how avoidable of a situation this was, the blame rested entirely on Eric, who was about to pay for what he did.
Cameron Lamb is dead. Eric DeValkenaere killed him. And the court has found that that happened because the defendant acted without considering or being aware of the substantial and unjustifiable risks associated with his conduct, and that his actions were a gross deviation from the standard of care that a reasonable person would exercise in the situation. Eric DeValkenaere, on count 1, the Class E felony of involuntary manslaughter in the second degree, I sentence you to a term of incarceration in the Missouri Division of Adult Institutions of 3 years. On the unclassified felony of armed criminal action, I sentence you to a term of incarceration of 6 years.
Good riddance. Not all cops, however, get the same kind of treatment as Eric. Sometimes when a cop takes a life, the justice system unravels to expose all of its own corruption.
That is a felony. It is punishable by up to 15 years.
On June 5, 2024, Michigan trooper Brian Keeley was called to court to answer for his actions involving the chase of a felon, Samuel Sterling. However, Keeley did not expect the charges that the judge brought before him.
Mr. Keeley, in this matter, the people are alleging that on or around April 17th of 2024, in the city of Kentwood, county of Kent, state of Michigan, you committed the following offenses: homicide, murder, second degree.
During Sterling's chase, Brian Keeley had rammed straight into Sterling in an unmarked vehicle, fatally wounding him.
Said act committed without premeditation or deliberation, that is a felony. It is punishable by life or any term of years. A consecutive sentence may be imposed for each death that resulted from operating a vehicle, and your DNA is taken upon arrest.
Keeley had served 25 years on the force. You'd think he'd have known better, but this just hinted at his true nature.
They also allege count 2, homicide, manslaughter, involuntary, in that you did cause the death of Samuel DeJohn Cornelius Sterling by committing the following act or acts in a grossly negligent manner.
If such a long-standing police officer was allowed to be this unprofessional, what does that say about others? However, he would soon face the consequences.
It is punishable by up to 15 years in the Department of Corrections and a fine of up to $7,500 with your DNA taken upon arrest, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed for each death that resulted from operating the vehicle.
This was much less than what someone like Keeley deserved, yet he still had the audacity to do the following.
Attorney Curtis, how is your client pleading at this time?
Not guilty to both charges, Your Honor.
The court will enter not guilty pleas in each of these counts, and we will schedule a probable cause conference and a preliminary examination. The purpose of those hearings is for the people to prove that there is probable cause to believe the felony offenses were committed and that you are the individual who committed them.
As if it couldn't get any worse, his denial of the severity of his own actions is what would take the case.
Bond, Your Honor. Mr. Detective Sergeant Keeley turned himself in and has been cooperating with the investigation and also has been in contact with me almost on a daily basis. I have no concern that he is a flight risk. He is not. He's going to stand for the court and confront the charges. We're not concerned about him leaving the area. We're not concerned about him being a danger to the public, as in the fact that he was in the lawful performance of his duties.
Keep in mind, Keeley did this with his own vehicle, not a squad car. But what is revealed next is truly what sealed his corrupt character.
He isn't currently working as a trooper or Michigan State Police at this point, so there isn't any concern of him being a danger further to the public as to the operation. He has an exemplary career as a trooper with the Michigan State Police. I'd ask the court to consider at least imposing a PR bond. I think that him being incarcerated would limit our ability to prepare for preliminary examination in this matter.
Keeley is defended similarly to rich brats who are forgiven for being good kids, and unfortunately, it begins to work.
You're telling me that there are no prior instances of this nature in his history?
No, I've reviewed his personnel file, Your Honor. I've talked to, he is a man of faith, attends church regularly, and he is not a person that I am concerned that is not going to appear or is a danger to anyone.
Little to no criminal record, and certainly nothing that leads me to believe that there is a risk to public safety that is representative of the conduct alleged in this matter. I do agree.
Taking the law into your own hands and taking someone's life should be cause for concern, especially with the way Keeley himself would try to dodge accountability.
I understand he is suspended from his duties at this time.
I filed for his retirement. The Michigan State Police have released to the media that he has retired from the department, but he was suspended without pay up until the Michigan State Police made that announcement to the media.
Next, a witness exposes a tyrant cop with evidence so damning, the silence in the room is deafening.
Your duties are to enforce immigration laws and look for terrorists and look for weapons of mass destruction and assist in detecting narcotics. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you do this, of course, you're following a procedure manual that tells you what to do?
Following policy, sir.
Written policy?
Yes, sir.
You have a copy of the written policy?
Right off the bat, let me just say, an officer should have a copy of the laws he's meant to enforce, given what he handles. I really feel like this would reduce the unfamiliarity of so many cops with the law.
Let me get this straight. You're testifying right now that you are aware that there are written guidelines and procedures for this checkpoint?
To my knowledge, yes, sir.
Do you recall on June 1st of this year giving a telephonic statement to Mr. Victor?
I do not recall the exact date, but yes, I do.
How do you as an officer not know that there are written guidelines in regard to your checkpoint? I mean, that is just downright ridiculous and insanely ignorant on the officer's part.
And you're on the telephone to Mr. Victor?
Yes, sir.
And you're aware that that tape recording was being recorded?
Yes, sir.
And were you trying to tell the truth at that time?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember being asked during that statement if you were aware of any written guidelines, policies, and procedures for this checkpoint?
Do I remember that specific question, sir?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Do you remember saying that you were not aware of any written guidelines, policies, or procedures?
No, sir.
Would it help to refresh your memory if you heard a tape playing of your voice?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, if I may?
Well, he's caught now. Audio footage is as good as it gets as far as incriminating evidence goes, and given that the officer has apparently lied, he may be in some serious trouble.
Just ask this question. Do you have any written policies, procedures, or guidelines on how the operation of that particular checkpoint is to be conducted?
No, to my knowledge, no. I'm there to determine citizenship, sir. If somebody's traveling through the interstate, comes to our checkpoint, they're U.S. citizens, they're free to go. If they're not U.S. citizens, they say they are not.
I don't get why such people lie in court. When such footage and evidence is readily available to the opposition, why would you be stupid enough to put yourself in such an unfavorable position?
If someone comes up and you cannot determine citizenship, you say you usually try to get them to secondary. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So there are some times that people come up and you are unable to determine citizenship, but you just let them go on their way. Is that correct?
No, sir.
And what do you do with them?
I try to establish citizenship there.
And suppose you can't.
Then they go to secondary, sir.
The attorney has Gomez flustered. With each answer he gives, he digs a deeper hole for himself, and he obviously has no idea what to do. I don't even believe the reason of his humiliation is the attorney's cunning, but it's his own sheer stupidity. To be honest, I'm loving it.
Mr. Anderson was sent to secondary inspection because of the dog alert. Is that correct?
It was a combination of both immigration and the canine alert, sir.
Okay. So you're saying part of the reason he was sent to secondary was immigration, not the dog alert?
Yes, sir.
But wasn't the decision made to send him to secondary, wasn't that decision made before he ever got to you?
Yes, sir.
And the decision was made, or you got the signal from Agent Spoonamore,
Correct.
before any immigration question was asked.
Yet another contradictory statement. Gomez has dug himself into a hole that he just can't get out of. Each answer he gives, no matter what he says, the lawyer will just keep on adding pressure onto him as he's doing now.
He could have pulled up to that primary checkpoint with a passport in his hand. And he was still going to secondary, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there any better documentation of U.S. citizenship than a U.S. passport?
No, sir.
So it didn't matter what he said, he was going to secondary.
Yes, sir.
Because the dog said so.
Because the canine alerted to the vehicle, sir.
Is a canine trained to alert to people here illegally?
No, sir.
According to Agent Gomez's logic, it was the dog who sent Mr. Anderson to secondary, so he evidently isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Agent Gomez was unable to get away with his transgression and mishandling of the situation at hand, and was thus reprimanded accordingly. However, while Gomez was reprimanded, I can't say the same for the cops in this next case.
Can you call PD for me?
Don't you touch me. Don't you touch me, sir.
In February of 2024, owner of YouTube channel JC News Now was conducting an audit at the Springfield Town Hall. However, he wasn't welcomed with open arms when he went in there, and the arrival of the police made it even worse, especially since they had a tussle with him in a prior incident.
Yes, sir. I need 2 officer complaint forms.
Statement forms or complaint forms? You can shut that off.
Complaint forms.
Film, you shut it off.
No, sir.
Okay.
Just complaint forms will work.
You want complaint forms?
Yes, sir. And I'll get out of your hair.
What's your name?
None of your business. Okay, I appreciate you. What's your name?
None of your business?
Oh, it is my business, sir. You're a public employee.
You can find out by asking the city.
It's just a man with a camera doing what is his right. Unfortunately, as you've seen in many of my videos, not many people are comfortable with the camera part.
And who are you, sir?
None of your business.
Okay, get out of the police department then. We're not allowed to film inside the police
Are
department.
you trying to,
You can fill that out.
you trying to deny my right to, I need another complaint form.
Well, you can fill that out and return it, but you're not allowed to film inside. Go ahead and step out the door.
What's the law on that?
It's in the state law. Step out
It's
the door.
not in the state law.
Step out the door or you
Or
will
what?
be escorted out.
Escorted? You gonna put your hands on me?
Yes, I will if you,
You
do not
will?
comply. Step out.
Can you state the ARS?
Step out.
What's the MLC on that? I need a
Step out.
complaint form, sir.
You have one in your hand.
I
Step out.
I need another one for you.
Step out.
What's your name and badge number?
Lieutenant Butterworth, 414.
All right, Lieutenant.
Step out.
You should know the law.
Have a good
You
day.
gonna push me out?
Get out of the door.
Each time I see an auditor, I applaud them for their bravery. They go head to head with such vile cops and take multiple blows, but never give up on their mission of establishing protection for the rights of an American citizen. It is a commendable act.
Robert John 3, David 9, Sam.
Yeah, go run it. See who it comes back to, dummy. What's your name and badge number?
What's your name? What's your badge number?
What's your name and badge number?
What's your badge number?
None of your business. I'm a private citizen.
Like a cop?
Do I?
Do I look like a cop?
You got a name and badge number? You gonna identify?
I ain't got nothing. You going to identify? Who are you?
None of your business.
Who are you?
None of your
What's
business.
your name, boy?
None of your business, boy.
What's your name, boy?
None of your business. Look at this,
Hey,
y'all.
that's a nice little do-rag you got up there, man.
You like that, do you?
Like a
All right, get out of here, punk. What a great video. All right.
In a previous audit, JC was verbally abused by this police chief. Such unprofessional and disgraceful cops should never be allowed to rise to such levels of power. This only highlights the deep issues that are within the police force today.
What's up, everybody? I'm back here at the Bush Municipal Building.
Well, I may run out there Monday. I see you out there. You may run today. Okay. All right. We'll see you out there.
Oops, I'm sorry. Was you in line?
No, you're good. No.
All right, thank you. All right, how are you?
We get it too.
Haven't decided yet.
Haven't decided yet.
Exercising your First Amendment right is an act that all Americans should do. It not only keeps the law in check, but educates you on the rights you have as a citizen. That's the biggest lesson I've learned from such auditors throughout the various cases that I've analyzed.
I need a badge or anything?
I need to know where you're going.
Anywhere the public's allowed.
Public's allowed right here until I know where you're going.
Okay, is there any public offices?
Do you have an appointment with somebody?
Yes, I have business. All right. I need to see the clerk.
The city clerk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what time did you have your appointment?
I don't have an appointment.
Okay, I can give you the name and number and you can make it.
No, I'm going to walk around. Do you want to give me a badge?
You know, walk around.
Watch me.
Can you call PD for me?
Don't you touch me.
You will not.
Don't you touch me, sir. You put your hands on me, that's assault.
Okay.
I have business.
No, you don't.
How uneducated is this security guard? Does he not understand the rights of a citizen? He immediately resorted to manhandling the auditor, and such disgusting behavior is exactly why public servants aren't respected at all by the people.
Don't you touch me.
Leave.
Don't you touch me.
Then you can leave.
Don't you touch me.
Okay, you are not.
What's your
good.
name?
It's time for you to go.
No.
Sir, it is time for you
What's
to go.
your name?
It is time for you to go.
What is your name?
It's time for you
You
to go.
assaulted me.
Okay, it's time for
You
you to
don't
go.
assault me, sir.
It's time for you to go.
I'm pressing charges on you.
Press charges, but you gotta go.
No, I'm not leaving.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Don't you touch me again.
Okay, it's time to go.
If you touch me again, I'm going to defend myself. Get off me.
Time to go.
No.
It is time for you to go.
Don't you touch me. Your
Okay.
job is to observe
Your
and
job-
report.
My job is to keep the building safe. It's time for you to go.
I have business. Don't touch me, sir.
The hubris of the officer is disgraceful. He continues to harass the auditor. Sometimes such people forget their own place and decide to exercise their authority on the people who they're meant to be protecting and serving. Their ignorance is so hilarious, but so sad at the same time.
Get your hand off of me.
Nope, it's time for you to go.
Get your hand off of me.
Nope, it's time for you to go.
No. I have business here.
What is your business here?
It's none of your business.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's time for you to go then.
Negative.
Yep,
Negative.
it's time for you to go.
We'll wait till the police get here.
That's fine.
Come on. I'm coming back. I'm going to have your job. What security company you work for?
I work for the city of Springfield.
Yeah, you're fixing to find out, Buster.
I work for the city of Springfield, acting like he's some guardian angel. What are you saving the city from? Implementation of the citizens' rights? Absolutely ridiculous behavior.
All right, Jimmy. I'm gonna go in and do my job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, GA.
I love you, bro.
I love you, bro.
Don't get in too much trouble.
How are you? Yeah, I'm Jimmy.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you in handcuffs. You gotta put the phone down, okay?
Why am I going in cuffs?
You have felony warrants.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Out of where?
I'll tell you whenever dispatch runs it, okay?
Here, hold my phone.
Jimmy, I love you, man.
I love you too. I don't have any warrants. I'd like to report an assault. Okay.
So the police now arrest him for a previous totally legal audit? Every time I do one of these videos, I'm reminded of the haunting truth about our police system. It serves only itself and not the people.
I'm here to keep recording, that's fine.
Howdy.
Step back a little bit.
Sure. Michael. 119898. All right. Let's code my phone. Call Josh. It's under AFA Josh.
The officers clearly have no remorse for their actions. Look at their faces. Those are faces of men willing to take as much advantage of the corrupt system as they can.
Hey, is this a non-emergency number?
Yes, it is. How can I help you?
Okay, never mind. You don't know who I am. I'm curious if I've got a warrant out for me.
Okay. What was your last name again?
Haig, H-A-A-G.
My name's Angie.
Thanks, Angie. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, there you have it. I don't guess I have a warrant out of Douglas County, so I guess we're good to go. So I'm back in business, y'all. Let's get it on.
So they not only arrested him, but under the false pretense of a warrant? This just takes the unprofessional behavior of the police department to a whole nother level. The auditor attempted to take the case to the Supreme Court, but it was denied and he was detained for 8 whole months. However, he is now out of confinement and recently starting posting on his channel once again. While in this case, the corrupt cops were able to get away unscathed, the guard in this next case was caught red-handed and shown no mercy.
I mean, not just my family, I think both family lost a lot.
On January 26, 2017, at about 11 p.m., Zhaisheng Chen was sitting in his minivan playing Pokemon Go when he was approached by a Chesapeake security guard, Jonathan Cromwell. The guard shot Zhaisheng several times, and for this, the matter was taken to court.
We just try to prevent, we want our next generation to live in a safe environment. It's always a big question how a person can turn to that evil. Everybody in this group feel the danger because, if a person can shot seven bullets to an innocent man, every court hearing is a historical moment for our community and also for Hampton Roads.
I shot because I felt like he was going to run me over. It was brought up of questions by the forensic technician of what my hobbies were, and so I just wanted to show him the video. Yes.
You feel that today?
Extremely.
You shot because you felt you were going to get run over? The most surprising part about this that completely nullifies his given statement is the fact that the shots he fired went through the side of the car. The family lawyer is absolutely right. Everyone in the group should feel danger, especially when there are people who would kill them for no reason.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder.
You can't just kill people. It's a life. It's a life.
The case is still underway, but I will be back Monday morning to fight as hard as I can for Jonathan, just like we fought the last 2 weeks.
He's always reaching out to us to fill him in on stuff, and being everything that we tell him is recorded, we can't really say a whole lot to him. Very frustrating not knowing the information's not getting where it needs to be. If it gives him a better chance of getting exonerated, 2 months is a short time to ask for a lifetime.
I feel bad for his father. He's clearly in pain because of what his son did. Such people not only cause immense pain for the victim's family, but even to their own blood with their heinous actions.
Not a single day went by without thinking my uncle called me. Like we kind of talked earlier about, doesn't matter how this jury goes or how the sentencing would be, nothing will bring him back. Not just my family, I think both families lost a lot.
As far as how we feel about the verdict, obviously we are disappointed. I'm sure if Jonathan had been given 10 hours to analyze his situation, he may have come to a different conclusion than he did in the seconds he had. Our agenda going forward remains the same, to support Jonathan in any way we can.
The justice was served again today. I stated that when the jury returned their verdict.
Well, it's not fair because he shouldn't have been convicted of anything. I respect the judge's decision. We understand it. We simply have a good faith difference of opinion. So there are a number of things here that we think an appellate court needs to review.
All of our evidence is on the record, and we are now ready to fight to uphold the conviction on appeal.
Well, a 30-year sentence is pretty huge, but I doubt he would have gotten it if he really shouldn't have been convicted of anything like the lawyer claims. The loss of a man's life is a huge deal, not something to be taken lightly. Jonathan Cromwell was sentenced to 30 years in prison on Monday. Earlier this year, he was convicted of second-degree murder for shooting 60-year-old Zhang Sheng Chen. Much like in this case, the guard in the next case also gets the due punishment for his heinous crimes.
This tragic loss of my husband has devastated me in every way.
On May 29, 2021, 49-year-old Freddie Nelson Jr. was confronted by the security guard Logan Gimble, who had caught him for trespassing. Unfortunately, the situation only escalated from there.
You refusing to leave my property?
Oh, you fucking asshole! Oh, I'm fucking off now! Fucker! Fucking asshole!
I told you to leave property!
Get the fuck out of here!
I told you to leave property! You've been trespassed and warned multiple times!
I call the police.
Freddie is hostile and non-cooperative with the officers so far. I mean, as long as the officer does nothing stupid, everything should be all right, right?
Get the f*** out the vehicle now! You already tried to hit me once! You move this vehicle again, I will fire! I told you to stop and do not angle the vehicle at me! Call the authorities now!
Oh, God! Help me!
I told you not to move the vehicle! I told you!
You call 911 right now! Oh my God! You fuck!
I don't care what Freddie did. That wasn't even near as big an offense needed to pull the trigger on a living person. People who arm such mentally ill guards should be charged with the same crimes that the guards would be tried for. That man is responsible for putting people in danger and the loss of Freddie's life.
Freddie! 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 Ah! Oh! Oh my God! Oh! The security guard just shot my husband! Oh! Oh! Freddie! 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 Oh my God, you killed him, you asshole!
I told you, he tried to hit me!
Why'd you shoot him?
Because he tried to hit me with a vehicle! That is assault with a deadly weapon!
The sheer audacity you need to attempt to justify your actions after pulling the trigger on someone is beyond me. This is disgusting to watch and disgusting to hear.
Are you on the authorities with them right now?
I'm on 911 right now.
Told them that he's been trespassed multiple times.
I watched you.
Okay.
We all watched you. Yes, he's shot. Yes, we definitely, I see blood. Yes.
He's bleeding out.
Okay.
Do they want me to render aid? I don't know what to do at this point.
You want security to render aid? Are you calling medical? What do you want him to do?
I'm right here standing by. My camera's on. Everything's been recorded.
Luckily, now that everything's on camera, Gimble will pay for his crimes and the pain he has caused Freddie's family throughout his actions.
He took my best friend and partner of over 30 years. He took the father of our 3 children and our grandson's grandpa or papa. I pray that someday I can have a forgiving heart so that I can move on with my life. As of now, I cannot see how I can ever learn to live with this pain. Not 1 hour has passed without thoughts of my husband, and many tears have been shed.
I want to say to the Nelson family, I'm sorry for the loss that I caused. And I hope that with this, they can find some closure.
This tragic loss of my husband has devastated me in every way, financially, mentally, physically, and emotionally. I have been forever changed, and I don't know that I will ever be the same again.
Next, a body cam video played in court reveals an officer's blatant misconduct, leaving the officer to hide his face.
Yeah, that's it, Sheriff, twice.
Just understand with that many counts, it's going to take me a minute or two.
You betrayed your city. You caused your lovely wife heartache.
Cameron Lamb is dead. Eric DeValkenaere killed him.
Some cops are scum. Think their badge gives them a free pass to commit crimes. But the courtroom has other plan. In this video, we'll look at moments when dirty cops get owned in the court, starting with a case where a fake cop happened to be trolling the street till he came in front of a judge.
God, not him again.
In May 2021, Jeremy Dewitte was arrested by police officers and brought in front of a judge. However, it was far from his first interaction with the cops that had gone into the wrong direction.
What's wrong? I'm sorry?
You guys law enforcement?
Are you okay?
I'm great. Are you law enforcement?
I'm asking you a question. Are you okay?
If you're not law enforcement, I'm not stopping for you.
Listen, if you keep going, we'll figure it out real fast.
Let's figure it out real fast.
Florida Statute 316, 1974 says we have the right of way with emergency vehicles. You need to sit tight, sir.
No, I don't.
You need to sit tight.
Answer my question.
I'm videotaping everything right now. I'll get your tag number. If you continue the way you are, we'll have to take care of the situation. I need you to sit tight.
Would you let me speak?
Let's figure it out real fast. Not only is he not a real police officer, but he's also downright threatening people for questioning his made-up authority. This guy seems like an absolute nutcase.
We're with Metro State, and we're a state-certified agency. You sit right there, please, sir. Thank you.
Can you write me a citation? Excuse me.
Come on, man, get out of the way. I gotta deal with this. Move. Sit tight, sir. Please don't continue. Hey, hey, boy.
Instead of calling it Metro State, he should have called it Mental State with the way he's behaving. This guy is the most insane and hilarious person I've seen in a while on this channel.
Last vehicle's 97. Last vehicle's 97. Motor one's moving. Hey! Get over! Now! All the way! Stay there!
are the real police, and why are they letting this guy harass normal citizens for no reason? He needs to be taken off the streets because no way would I tolerate a fake police officer telling me what to do.
Get them out of the way! Drive! Drive! Go! Dude, you're not paying attention. This is what I need. Stay there! What are you directing, dog? What are you directing, dog? I was trying to move that car back. Stop f***ing arguing.
Yes, using inappropriate language with the citizens of this country. The sign of a true police officer. What a joke.
I need a unit up here now so he can take over. Who wants the license? It's on my motorcycle. Sorry, you want me to go back to my motorcycle? You want me to stand over here? Sorry. Motorcycle, I can't because unless you're going to put one of your cruisers here and hold this funeral, I can't do that. Sorry, that pissed me off. Sorry, I'm not trying to piss you off. Get your license. See, let me go. Okay. Get your license.
Finally, the police have caught up to this guy. He was really starting to annoy me with his inappropriate language and misuse of authority.
Sergeant, my vehicle's not stolen, Sergeant. I can tell you right now, everything's being videotaped on my body cam, Sergeant. Okay, you're so that's not a firearm, Sergeant. Let's go. That's a less lethal, Sergeant. So legally, for the per Florida statute, I'm allowed to carry that, Sergeant. 970. Go ahead and look it up, Sergeant. The vehicle's not stolen, Sergeant. I have the registration for the vehicle, Sergeant. I have the registration for the vehicle, Sergeant. Sergeant, get your lieutenant, please.
There is no lieutenant. I'm in.
Then get a captain.
There is no captain. I'm in.
Is this guy a parrot, the way he just keeps on saying the same thing again and again? DeWitte really needs to get his act straight. The cops clearly are not willing to entertain any of his antics.
Well, you have handcuffs.
Make sure you have your body cameras running.
Body cameras are running. Why do you have handcuffs?
I'm not talking to you, officer.
Okay.
I have the registration for that vehicle, Sergeant. I want everyone on this scene with their body cameras rolling.
Wow, so this guy has handcuffs too? That's kind of weird. Is he really that delusional that he thinks he has the power to arrest people?
Pass on a double yellow. I stayed inside the double yellow, which is legal for us in the state of Florida, per Florida escort. I can pull the statute as well. Somebody get zero, get with him and explain to him that's less lethal and per Florida statute 960, we can have that. He's saying I stole the bike. But it's registered to the company. But you're 15 in me and you're holding me here in front of all these people. We could have done this professionally, not like children. Just because you don't like me and you have a history with me doesn't authorize you to treat me like shit. I'm treating you like shit. You are, Sergeant.
Ah, yes, of course they have a history with him. With how comfortable he was roaming on the streets, telling everyone around, I should have known this wasn't his first time committing such an act.
Honda was stolen, and we got the tag back from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and then we registered it to that motorcycle. And that motorcycle has that tag. And the Department of Motor Vehicles issued the registration sticker for that tag.
Huh? All right.
In the car, dude. You just chill. If it's an issue, we'll figure it out. But you screaming and yelling isn't going to change that. Well, pulling me out, putting me in cuffs, when your car is, when it shows signal 10, stolen, it's a felony. That's how it's done. Registration. And I have the registration on my phone, but you guys are refusing to listen.
This guy pretends to be an officer, but doesn't even know the law. If the tag comes back as stolen, it's a felony, plain and simple. For some weird reason, he can't seem to get that in his head. Well, you'd think a trip to the police station would shut him up, but you'd be sadly mistaken, as he'd go back to his antics as soon as he got out.
Oh, God, not him again. It's Jeremy.
Don't reach for that firearm. Walk away from your bike. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Go down to your knees. Do not reach for that firearm.
You're being secure because you're openly carrying a firearm.
What?
You're openly carrying a firearm.
Carrying a pepper ball. You already know that.
I do not know that. That is a firearm. That is a firearm right now. All right, Jeremy, you're being arrested for carrying a concealed weapon.
Concealed? It was in plain view.
That's not plain view. That's concealed. That holster's concealed.
What are you talking about?
Who does this man think he is? First handcuffs, then a firearm? If you want a lesson on how to speed run going to jail, you should watch more DeWitte videos, because this guy is insanely dumb and stubborn.
Be a lieutenant. Give me a lieutenant. It was in plain view. It's in plain view. Give me a lieutenant. Sit down. Sit down and be quiet. Where's the lieutenant? Where's the lieutenant? Give me a lieutenant. This is not right.
Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? I'm a deputy. I'm not an officer. You don't tell me what to do.
I understand.
Stop yelling at me, and I'm going to stop yelling at you. Do not yell. Do not raise your voice at me.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
I understand.
You've already asked the sergeant for a lieutenant. You don't get to pick and choose who comes to the traffic stop.
Glad this deputy put him in his place. He just has an issue with authority. First, imposing it on our citizens, and then on the cops who are arresting him.
This online identifies as a Glock, basically a Glock replica. Can you show me on here anywhere, I mean, I don't know why you'd have a light on a less lethal, but can you show me anywhere on here where it gives anybody the idea that this is not a...
I don't
that
make those.
That it's a less lethal?
I can't answer that. I don't make those. But you know they're less lethal.
No, I'm asking. If I saw this, I wouldn't know that.
That's where you're... But you can save that for somebody else.
Okay.
I've seen this guy for just a few minutes, and I can barely stand. I can't imagine how vexing it is to interact with him in real life. Even after getting arrested several times, he still doesn't seem to feel guilty at all.
No, I was on bond. They revoked my bond with a new charge, but that charge was dropped.
He has approximately 10 or 11 other cases that he's currently incarcerated.
Oh, you got a bunch of different cases that are keeping you. Right.
Jeremy Dewitte was released on bond, but is yet to stand trial for impersonating a police officer, for which he could be looking at a potential 5-year sentence. Unlike this case, in this next case, the guy committing the crimes happened to be an actual cop, and the reason for which he was in court was much more horrifying.
Just understand with that many counts, it's going to take me a minute or two.
On July 13, 2021, former cop Zachary found himself in court in front of a judge waiting for a verdict on his crime. The most surprising part? He was facing 67 charges of racketeering and could see serious jail time.
It appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Have you ever seen this before?
No, what is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement.
I despise cops who exercise their power illegally, and this cop is no different. Imagine how many innocent civilian lives this single cop has ruined.
All right, now here's what we're going to do. I'll bring the jury in. The bailiff will bring me the verdict form. I will review the verdict form. There are over 60 counts, so it's going to take me a couple minutes because it's my responsibility to make sure that the verdict form is completely filled out, signed, and dated. So please give me a second to go through that verdict form to make sure it is correct. If it's not correct, then I'll have to bring the attorneys up and we'll have to talk about how we're going to deal with it. But just understand with that many counts, it's going to take me a minute or two to go through it before I hand it to the clerk.
I think the fact that the judge mentioned it to take him a couple of minutes to get through the charges is the most horrifying fact for me. An officer of the law with 6+ charges on him is terrifying.
I'll ask the clerk to go ahead and publish the verdict.
In the state of Florida versus Zachary Tyler Wester, case number 19-CF-431. We, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged in the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged. Count 2, not guilty. Count 3, not guilty. Count 4, not guilty.
Zachary was found guilty on 19 of his 67 charges. He's been convicted of 3 counts of official misconduct, 3 counts of fabricating evidence, 4 counts of possession of a controlled substance, 3 counts of possession of paraphernalia, and 2 counts of false imprisonment, along with his 19 counts of racketeering. Lester, 28, was sentenced Tuesday to 12.5 years in state prison in connection with 19 guilty verdicts handed down in May. Like in this case, this next cop was also given a severe punishment for his transgression.
Caused your lovely wife heartache?
On January 28, 2015, a 58-year-old man by the name of Floyd Dent was driving around when he was stopped by Officer Melendez for a minor traffic offense. However, the actions that Melendez chose to take from there end with him being punished.
January 28, 2015, where his life changed forever. He was stopped by the defendant, a then Inkster police officer, and his partner, Officer Zelenowski. Mr. Dent was stopped for a minor traffic offense and ordered out of his vehicle. With his hands extended out of his driver's window, he was grabbed out, thrown to the ground, and struck 16 times in the head by the defendant.
These types of scum are what defame our police force. They exercise their force illegally on the very people they're supposed to protect and then act a victim. Pathetic.
The responding police officers arrived as the defendant is wrestling the defendant to the ground. Mr. Dent was struck, kicked, and tased while on the ground by what appeared to be a group of angry, anxious police officers that celebrated after the defendant was beaten and cuffed.
I don't get how such police officers even live with themselves. These cops are indicative of deep-rooted problems in our police force that need to be handled immediately and by force.
But the one image that struck out to the court was looking at Mr. Dent in his cell, shaking his head in disbelief of what had occurred to him. If his conduct was indicative of what he was thinking, I would have thought this: what crime did I commit? Being a black man in a Cadillac, stopped for a minor traffic offense by a group of racist police officers looking to do an...
Well, Melendez is one of the stupidest officers I've ever seen. How do you commit such an act on camera and expect to get away with it? He's done himself for life. He'll never be seen the same way again.
The purpose of it was to harass and degrade a motorist in Inkster. The man chosen for your game was Floyd Dent, a black man. The game went like this. Let's follow a car in a known drug area, and based on your years of training experience, you knew that the motorist would likely be a black person, no license, armed with a vehicle. Took me several days to read the letters that people sent talking about your character, about the man that you are, about how you went in Westland and helped to save 3 senior citizens from a burning building. 3 of those letters, I believe, were from African Americans, and 1 even professed to be like a mother. 1 or 2 things: either they're all racist, or there's something redeeming about you that somehow, in some way, you forgot that night.
The age-old trick of fake letter. Does Melendez take this judge for a fool? He's just digging himself into a hole here, and I'm loving it.
At the station, the other eye of justice captured you and your posse making fun of Mr. Dent, mimicking him struggling while you all wiped the blood off your uniforms with disinfectant while he watched. Such an awesome, caring, properly trained police officer. You led your fellow officers down a path of cowardly behavior. You betrayed your city. You caused your lovely wife harm. And you caused Mr. Dent severe anguish.
Tell him to make fun of Mr. Dent now. I bet he doesn't have the guts anymore, seeing as to how big of a pickle he's gotten himself in.
Today, I can only punish your conduct, but only you and God can change your character. I've had an opportunity to listen to both sides. And I had to say this because I didn't say this during the trial. But it was my privilege to be able to oversee this trial because I had great lawyers.
Look at his face. This man isn't guilty and emotionless because he feels bad for what he did to Mr. Dent. He just feels bad because he happened to get caught in the act.
I am going to commit you to the Michigan Department of Corrections. However, after weighing the allegations in this particular matter and looking at all the circumstances, including what you've done and who the person I really believe that you are, I'm going to commit you to the Michigan Department of Corrections as to count 1 for no less than 13 months, no more than 10 years. As to count 2, I'm going to give you 90 days credit for time served and close it out. The court's going to give you 85 days for credit. You have 42 days to appeal my decision. That concludes this matter. Thank you.
He should be glad he only got this much time. He deserves to be put behind bars for a long time.
I am truly sorry that you believe my actions were unjust. Please have faith in your law enforcement officers, for many of them would risk their life for yours.
Melendez even went as far as to claim that he suffered from PTSD, but honestly, I don't buy it, and neither did the judge, so Melendez's plea was not entertained. William Melendez apologized to Dent, the community, and his family shortly before he was sentenced Tuesday to 13 months to 10 years in prison. Like in this case, with Officer Melendez being sentenced for his wrongdoing, this next officer also failed to get away with his crimes as his case came before a righteous and no-nonsense judge.
Cameron Lamb is dead. Eric DeValkenaere killed him.
On December 3rd, 2019, Eric DeValkenaere was alerted to a crime committed by Cameron Lamb. However, once he arrived at Cameron's property, everything seemed to go horribly wrong and he landed himself in court for his actions.
And the parties have a right to expect that no matter what I hear, I will only consider factors that are appropriate and that I will disregard those that are inappropriate. And that is what I've done here, and as a result, I've concluded as follows. There are a number of facts in this case that are both aggravating and mitigating, sometimes all at the same time. First and foremost is this undeniable and uncontested fact. Cameron Lamb is dead, and Eric DeValkenaere killed him. That's undisputed.
I really like this judge. He's getting straight to the facts. No BS, no irrelevant information at all. This is how all judges should be.
Cameron Lamb's death leaves an irreparable and unfillable void in the lives of his family and his friends, and also in our community. Also, as I'm weighing all these facts, it can't be overlooked that the events of December 3rd of 2019 were initially set into motion by Cameron Lamb, and his decision to chase his girlfriend through city streets at dangerously high speeds, putting motorists and other members of the public at risk.
I love the judge's objectivity. No bias, not that I can say that about many judges that I get to see on this channel.
Pulling up to defendant's house, Sergeant Schwam pulling into the driveway, immediately getting out with his weapon drawn, rapidly moving into the backyard, carport, garage area of the house, and defendant doing the same. Both without taking a breath, without pausing for the briefest of moments to consider where they were going, what they would find when they got back there, whether they were acting lawfully in doing so, and whether there might be some other safer option, without so much as a "Hey Troy, wait." At any point, Sergeant Schwam and the defendant could have done this.
These cops never think in the moment. They always end up regretting it when they end up in front of a judge. Sad truth is, their actions can't be taken back and their victims can't be brought back.
Eric DeValkenaere is not Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd. Eric DeValkenaere is not one of the 3 men in Georgia convicted of running down and murdering Ahmaud Arbery. This is a mitigating factor. Defendant has no prior criminal history. His ORAS scores him as a low risk in all categories. Defendant's history as a police officer, husband and father, friend and colleague is also a mitigating factor that I have taken into account, as his father asked me to do, which I was already going to do, and that is to consider the totality of the circumstances.
This is how a professional judge is. Completely objective, takes all factors into account, and doesn't let emotion sway him. If we had more people like him in our judicial system, I'm sure it would be a lot better than it is right now.
Have demonstrated he has not hesitated to immediately take action when he believed the circumstances surrounding him warranted it. And this trait has generally served him and others well. It also failed him, as it did on December 3rd of 2019. All of which, however, leads the court back to where it began, an evaluation of the impact of the defendant's crime on Cameron Lamb and his family. Cameron Lamb is dead. Eric DeValkenaere killed him. Having concluded, as I have, having considered all those factors, I ask counsel if there's any legal reason or cause, having been shown, why sentence and judgment of the court should not now be pronounced.
None from the state.
No, sir.
Eric DeValkenaere on count 1, the Class E felony of involuntary manslaughter in the second degree. I sentence you to a term of incarceration in the Missouri Division of Adult Institutions of 3 years. On the unclassified felony of armed criminal action, I sentence you to a term of incarceration of 6 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections.
DeValkenaere was convicted of manslaughter and armed criminal action in 2019 killing Cameron Lamb and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Well, there you have it, a showcase of dirty cops getting absolutely owned in the courtroom, as a lesson for all cops out there who think they can get away with crimes just because they happen to wear a badge. That brings an end to today's cases. Please consider showing your support by liking this video, and make sure to subscribe to stay informed about future cases like these. Also, if you enjoyed this video, check out the next video here.